Oh, Phil was just robbed. Absolutely robbed. That was rough. That was rough. That was rough.
Okay, I'm back.
You're back.
My sound was, yeah. I was like, I think the background music was like tripping me up, but I'm here.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm present.
I'm glad you're here.
Live.
It was, yeah, it's loud when I start. Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special prime time A/B testing. I mean, I feel strange, but I'm not going to lie. It's different.
I will tell you, it was a little weird today. Like, I was doing things at 2 p.m. and I was like, I feel like this is, I should be doing something else.
I feel the same way. I was like, wait, what's going on right now? I feel like something's missing. Like my Tuesday's a day.
Yeah, it threw me off. It did throw me off. But, you know, there's only very few people that can make us, no one made us do anything. I want to make that clear.
You were forced against our will. No, we were not.
We were not forced. We enthusiastically complied to our additional time zones. We want to be inclusive, of the world, and the world is not North America. So we have friends all over, in case you didn't know. So yes, we are very happy for today's guest. I think it's a good time to pull our guest on.
Let's bring him on. Welcome, Phil.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
Serious question, Phil. Are you like a full name kind of guy? Like, I have a friend, if he's watching this to be wild, John, but everyone calls him John Tapp. That's his full name. Do people call you your full name a lot?
No, good point. I just I was welcomed with a fill in your name box as I got in, and I just put it in. I didn't know what I was doing. No, people call me Phil. Okay. Phil Nash is just where I am, what I am, everything on the internet, which is true. All the social medias, all the handles, it's all Phil Nash.
Nice.
Okay.
Except for on Twitch, where I'm Phil_Nash because someone got there first, apparently.
Oh no,
I know.
that's too
very
bad.
sad.
And where are you joining us from, if people don't know?
Well, yeah, I am joining you from the Wednesday, where
wow.
I'm joining from Melbourne, Australia. It is, it's 8:18 Wednesday morning. So thank you for staying up to chat with me today. It's thank you. It's an honor.
Wow. The future looks cool. Enjoy it. Well, wow. Yeah, that is true. So if you were to give folks, we learned your name. It is, you go by Phil, not just Phil Nash. But if you were to give folks like an intro, who are you, Phil? Like, for folks who may not be a part of the Phil fan club.
Sure. So I'm a developer relations engineer these days at a company called DataStax. But I've been doing this kind of thing for a long time. So I am ex-Twilio. That's Brent hitting in there with the lower thirds already. I've been developing for about 18 years or something now professionally, and 10 of those in developer relations. And all I do is hang out with other developers, build cool stuff, and talk about it. It's a lot of fun.
Nice. I gotta get my buttons right. Sorry, still getting there. That's awesome. And how'd you get into DevRel in the first place?
Oof. That's a good question for anyone, isn't it? Personally, I'm interested in for both of you as well. But for me, it was. It all goes back to, it was accidental, to put it one way. It was accidental in that, I don't know, so when I finished university, I'll go way back. When I finished university, I did a maths and computer science degree, and I wasn't very good at either of them at university level. At least, I never thought I was going to be a developer, and I blame Java for that. If there are any Java fans watching, you're wrong. Because it genuinely nearly put me off. But I was building websites and so HTML, CSS, and JavaScript kind of got me hooked instead. But I didn't think I could get a job in that, so I started writing a blog about my learning about it, and that just kind of started me sharing stuff I was learning with people, and has continued effectively to this day. That blog probably got me, a foot in the door in my first couple of interviews at companies. And then the company I worked for before I worked at Twilio, like, just kind of encouraged us to kind of get out into the community and share stuff. I think they wanted to encourage more people or make it easier for us to hire, basically, by talking about our cool stuff. And so they were like, yeah, get out there, go talk at conferences. It was a great policy in which we were allowed to go to like 2 conferences a year for like learning purposes. But if you got to speak at a conference, that kind of added on top of that. And so it was this incentive to be like, oh, you can just fly around the world and we'll support that as long as you're talking. And so that was kind of cool, honestly. So just kept talking, yeah.
Okay, so you brought up something that was interesting, which is this like sharing what you were learning, right?
Oh, yeah.
I'm kind of curious, like, that is a form of just kind of education, right? Education and community. So like at that time, right, that made all the sense. I'm not saying people don't share what they're learning, but if you're thinking about it in the today, right, how are you feeling like that's evolved, right? Like, what is DevRel looking like to you these days?
That part of it, I don't think has changed. Like, I think we're still responsible for teaching people to do things either with your products, either with the tools that you have, or to just do things better. I don't think that's changed. Do you?
I think no. I wouldn't say it's fully changed, but I am curious, like, if you feel like DevRel I call it DevRel in its purity, to like DevRel plus business, and as companies are evolving and changing. So yeah, I think that was where more my curiosity landed.
Right, maybe we track that kind of stuff better. Is that what you're saying? You have to that you're helping people.
Unfortunately, yes.
Did someone learn? Wow, we get a little spicy after hours, clearly.
Yeah.
But yes, okay. So that's a good point of just like the essence should still be there. Yeah.
Well, so I thought you were sort of asking, and I've spent a bunch of time in the generative AI world and stuff right now. That's what we do at DataStax. And so I thought you were sort of asking from the point of like, do we ever need to write anything again? It's all being done for us.
Oh no. They've tried to say AI is taking the jobs, and yet.
I remember one of the first like AI conferences I went to locally here. Some guy got up on. There were like a few different talks. Some of them were good, some of them were weird. And one guy who had a weird presentation gets up, and the first thing he says was, certain jobs are going to not exist. He's like, within a year, there's going to be no more developer relations. And I was like, I actually think it's going to be, I feel like we're the last ones because we're the storytellers. And that's like the one thing that, like, sure, there's a lot of ways that AI can help you learn how to do stuff and everything else. But I was like, I don't think that's like saying we have books, we don't need teachers anymore.
Absolutely.
People have said that, Alex. People have said it. They even said AI is coming for education. But yes. So that's real. Okay.
We do have the benefit in developer relations, at least, that we tend to work with new stuff a lot of the time as well, and that new stuff is not as well represented in our AI friends, and so in fact, I was trying to build something just yesterday where it's 2 days ago, and try to use Copilot agent mode to like generate a bunch of stuff, and it was doing a great job. It's doing an absolutely lovely job until it came across like one bit I needed to do that was relatively new, and it was just making stuff up all over the place. And I'm like, cool, thank you for that. I have to pay attention to the code now and fix it all up. It invented like an npm module to install, and as people have security vulnerability there in the whole thing. Have you heard of this slop squatting idea? No.
What's slop squatting? I like the name of it.
It's bizarre, isn't it? Slop squatting is so if a code writing agent kind of invents a module to install, if you are smart enough to think about what are the modules that an AI agent could think of to install that don't already exist, and then you put malicious modules in place, publish malicious modules there, then the AI agent could be just installing malicious modules for people, even though it's just making up a name. I don't think it's the greatest.
The attack vectors are wild.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I found an article. Whoop, there we go. Found an article on it. The attack vectors are wild. That's such a weird one that people just like throw stuff out, hoping one day an AI comes across it and uses it in a way that they shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will tell you that it made up a module for some of our stuff, some of DataStax stuff 2 days ago, and I won't tell you what the module name was in case somebody wants to take advantage of it.
Good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very important. Let's see.
That's so funny. Yeah, I didn't know that. I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, if it's not doing stuff it knows like lots about how to do, then it will just make it up, including trying to make up installing stuff. So yeah, fun.
I like the whole new thing where everyone's complaining that GPT 4.0 is just too nice. And like at first you're like, well, that was, and then you like realize, oh no, that really is a problem because every idea is now the best idea ever. You know, it's like
very much so. Like one of my friends from the base, she's like, you know, like just GPT like avoiding wanting to do the work of like, no, what do you think? Like, what do you like? And I was like, yeah, I could see how that can be very, very not fun.
It also makes me worry for my friends who use AI as a like their like kind of personal therapist. I'm just like, I can see this going so wrong.
Right.
That is dangerous to do with something that will change personality.
I know.
It's hard though, because people like on one end, it's like this feels accessible, right? Like this feels great. But then on the other end, I'm like, I don't know that I would entrust. But okay, there's something though that folks have mentioned, kind of it reflects you to you.
Mm-hmm.
It's good at reflecting self. So on one end, I could see how like that's cool, but then I'm just like, oh no, I don't know. I don't know that I would want to take, too much direction from the interwebs. Okay, Phil. So you'd mentioned DataStax. DataStax. Is that how you pronounce it? Okay.
Yes. That's how I pronounce it. Other people probably say DataStax.
Oh, okay. Can you kind of? I know I'm having you talk about work, and you probably, I don't even know if you started working just yet, but can you talk about just like DataStax from your lens? Like, what are you excited about as it relates to like that product? And you could not be excited about DataStax. So like anything goes.
That'd be rough.
Yeah.
Would be, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'm like, well, I only clock on at 9 a.m. so I can talk badly about it for now.
So
not going to happen.
But yes. But yeah, no. Can you just kind of like just share more about DataStax for folks who may not be super familiar? How Absolutely. You see it feel? Yeah, I'll start there.
It's funny because it's all going to change soon. But let me start. So DataStax. It is. I'll get to that. So DataStax has been around for a while. It's 14, 15 years old, something like that. It actually started out of the world of Cassandra. Cassandra is it's a big NoSQL database. It was originally written by Facebook back in the day when they ran out of space in all the other databases they had and needed more. And so we've been so Cassandra was handed over to like the Apache Foundation, and then DataStax was like started in order to like try and commercialize Cassandra as a database. We've been doing that for years, which is cool. I'm not super excited. Like I'll be honest, like I'm not super excited about the Cassandra database. I believe it works really well. It's been improving since Facebook built it like that. But in recent years, we took it to the cloud, and then we decided to go all in on on this future of building on generative AI, not just using it, but building on it, building things as part of your applications. And so AstraDB is the online version of Cassandra, but it's much easier to use. You just use a JSON API to talk to it, and then we have nice SDKs for that, which really exist, even though Copilot doesn't know about them. And AstraDB allows you to just kind of quite easily build like RAG applications. Have you dealt with RAG, retrieval augmented generation, at all before?
Yes.
Yeah.
Talking to our teams, they do a lot of that. When trying to pull context out of segment, our CDP, into anything, there's too much data, and so they have like RAG engines running in the background to pull the right data at the right time.
That's awesome. Yeah. So so I got really into. I've never really been into data before, but like I've been here for just a bit over a year now, and pulling like getting the right data is so interesting, especially in this world of like trying to search for it based on like meaning. Everyone understands keyword search, kind of, it makes sense, but searching by meaning is kind of really interesting. So AstraDB does that, and does that really nicely, really easily. We actually did just launch a hybrid search version of AstraDB recently as well, where you can put like you can do a lexical search and a vector search at the same time, and then it uses an internal re-ranking model to bring out the best results from both keyword and vector search, which has been cool. It's been really fun. Nice. The idea there is it brings you back like stuff that vector search might have missed with keyword search, stuff that keyword search misses with vector search, and then the re-ranking stuff is really interesting because a re-ranking model is different to it still does like a similarity rank, but it's different to vector search because vector search like goes and you vector embed all your content, and then later you get a query and you embed that and you compare those vectors. Whereas a re-ranker takes it's trained differently. It's trained with like question answer pairs. And so in order to get a response out of it, you need to give it both the query and the answer, and then it gives it a rank of like how close it is, and then you can sort based on that, and you get like raising different parts to the top, and it's really interesting. And it's kind of really interesting to build, and then we kind of did it all internally, so it's like you just add a couple of properties to a search and it's done in the API. But I think it's absolutely fascinating. So we've been doing all that, and that's cool. But like I said, like being like Cassandra was never like the most exciting part to me. So we also, just before I joined the company, we bought another company called Langflow, which is a drag and drop builder for generative AI flows.
Oh, nice.
And that's a lot of fun to work with as well. And that's actually,
I feel like as a DevRel person, that's probably even more fun because, like, I know you were around when Twilio Studio was a thing. Like, it's so fun and easy to build live with these drag and drop tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's easy to kind of picture and understand what your flow is doing a bit better than when you get kind of deep in the code and you kind of lose some of that. So so Langflow is cool. It's also open source, right? It is a Python application. I think it's a React based front end. So actually, like, I see you on datastax.com there, but if you go to langflow.org, then that is better view of a Langflow. There you go. So it looks a little like that. So Langflow allows you to, and I say it's open source. It actually supports multiple different models, model providers, all the vector databases that we can find, as well as whole bunches of other stuff. So it's all about kind of building agents with that right now, and providing different tools and all that kind of stuff. So much. And so like I spent more time paying attention to the database recently, but I'm now just kind of getting up to speed on how to do stuff in Langflow, and it's a lot of power there. It's a lot of power.
So I actually have a question, because there's this thing that we've a lot of us think about, which is like the idea of like vibe coding, right? Just like telling AI to build something and letting it build. To me, something like Langflow almost seems like the anti-vibe coding for people who would otherwise be vibe coding, because all of a sudden you don't need to sit there and tell an AI to do it and hope that it's getting it right, but you can actually like drag and drop and kind of build it yourself. And there's a little more structure and continuity to it than just, again, hoping that AI writes code that's worthwhile.
That's an interesting point. So yeah, like it does seem like, I feel like there've been various think pieces written about how vibe coding is the death of low and no code kind of things. But you're right. I disagree with that on a couple of levels. One of which is that like vibe coding is great if you understand what's going on. But no, I'm going against the definition of vibe coding there. Vibe coding is like not even looking at the code, right? It's just kind of going until the thing works.
I think being a developer who's using AI to write your first draft of code I don't think that's quite vibe coding.
No. That is just using it as an assistant, which works. Yeah. Doing it until you don't know, and you never have to look at that code.
Is there literature? Is there literature around how one would? Let's see. Is there official write-up on vibe coding?
I mean, there's tons of stuff out there. There's tons of great YouTube videos about people complaining about vibe coding and why it's like not a great idea. I feel like
people
are still talking about it. And then
I feel like everyone has a different definition of the vibe coding. I don't know.
That's true, but there is a definition.
Yeah, there's like a formal definition.
There was the first tweet about it, which is as definition as it can be, right?
Okay, yeah.
That was from Andrei Karpathy, right? I popped it in the Twitch chat. Okay. And he said there's a new kind of coding I call vibe coding, where you fully give into the vibes, embrace exponentials, and forget the code even exists. It's possible because the LLMs are getting too good, and so that was kind of like that was the genesis of it, and that's it is about giving into the vibes and forgetting the code exists, and that's why I think Alex, you're right, like just coding with an LLM, coding in Cursor or Windsurf or whatever is not necessarily vibe coding. It's still coding, but with a load of help. Vibe coding is letting it write and not caring. So the first time I tried to like fully give in to that kind of thing, I was still trying to engineer it too much. And I had it write a little application for me. That was something simple. It was like, turn an SVG into a PNG. And I was like, I want a small application that does that offline, because I'd been doing that recently, and the service I used was then suddenly like, you keep uploading stuff, you've run out of credits. I'm like, oh, I didn't know I had credits. I didn't know I needed to upload this. I'm sure JavaScript can do this. Anyway, so I told it to do that, but I was engineering it too hard because I was also like, and write tests for it, which apparently is not part of the thing. Anyway, it really annoyed me because it happily built the application correctly, and it could never pass its own tests. And it went into a spinning. Like,
but it worked.
Those tests don't work. I'll fix those. And then it didn't fix the test. And then it just kept doing that for minutes on end. But the application worked. Yeah. So annoying.
Yeah.
So there's no vibe engineering.
You can just, for image conversions, use magic or image magic, whatever it's called.
Well, to be fair, I now have I'm using Warp as my terminal, so I can just ask that and use its AI mode to give me an image magic command to turn an SVG to a PNG. Sure.
There you go.
But I'm a front-end web developer at heart. I want that to be in a browser, and I want it to work offline.
That's fine. I'm a robotic developer by heart, and so I don't remember how to do anything. I need to look it all up. And then the really complicated math is what I'm supposed to know, and I forgot that too, so I don't really know what I'm doing.
It's fair. Just vibe it. It's fine.
Yeah, I just got to vibe.
All the vibe.
Just
vibe. Find the vibes. All I could think about was just like, vibe coding requires a level of just trust and flow. It's like, I have a POV, a strong POV here. Okay, so let's see. Phil, if someone were to, not that someone would randomly ask you your hobbies unless you're on stream and someone's like, Phil, what are your hobbies? So Phil, what are your hobbies? What are you into? What do you do? What do you like to do for fun?
It's travel, but like that's also work. I don't know. It's there's a lot of that kind of stuff. It's
okay. So what do you do when you travel? Like, okay, when you're not traveling for work, like what makes for a good trip for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I absolutely love like exploring food and drink out when traveling. 2 weeks ago, I was in Seoul in South Korea, and that was incredible eating, drinking experience.
I love Korean skincare, but keep keep going. All right, so food. I don't think you understand.
I'm gonna expose Bianca even more. you also love K-dramas, don't you?
You're not supposed to tell all of that. Wow, Alex. Anywho. But yes, that's one of the places. But yes, okay, so food.
Oh, go there. It's cool. No, it was quite funny because so we went on a tour to the DMZ as well, right? To go have a look at North Korea because you got to do that whilst you're there. It's just like it's just over there. It's incredible.
Yeah.
But as a part of this tour, we crossed into the DMZ, and then the tour guide was just like, "Oh, the bus is just going up this way, and if you look over there, that's what something happened in this thing." And there were people craning over, cameras up against the window of the side of the bus, and we're. In what? It's like, it was some K-drama thing got filmed. I presume some sort of important scene.
Oh my gosh! Filmed. I think I know what film. I think I know what film. Why am I blanking on the name? But it was a whole y'all. It was like a love story that was like one of the whatever, y'all. I'm ignoring y'all. I'll find the name of it. But I could see why.
I had something kind of similar happen at one point. I stayed at a nice hotel in like Goa, India at one point, and then I showed some friends picture and like, oh my God, that's the hotel from like this Bollywood movie. And I was like, great, that sounds cool. But
chat are asking what
big question, Bianca.
Bianca, you gotta answer that.
Our good friend Michael Poli wants to know, what K-drama should we be watching?
Okay, so you gotta start. So I think the one that they were referencing was probably Crash Landing on You. So Crash Landing on You, like, it might seem cheesy. It might be like a little rom-com. No, it's layered. There's storytelling. There's family drama. There's just like, so, like, when I tell you it was so good, and like the acting in that was so great. There was friendship. There was camaraderie. There was just. It was layered. It was layered. So don't let the whole like, oh, this is a cheesy rom-com. Not that's how y'all talk, but
that's how I talk. No.
But Crash Landing on You is good. There's some other good ones too, but I think, all right, here's the thing I love about K-dramas. For a person who doesn't seem to be into K-dramas, I love that the story, like, I feel like there's no such thing as like, oh, a villain or whatever. Like everyone of the characters is so nuanced. And I think I love that in that aspect of storytelling, because it's like, there are things about each of the characters you can love and not love, which is humanity, right? It's complex. We have different stories. So it's really, I'm a fan. I feel like K-dramas do a great job of storytelling. All right, but back to your trip.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Yes. So I didn't know anything about the K-dramas, but I'm glad some people got out of it. I mean, aside from having watched Squid Game, but like everybody on the world has watched Squid Game, so that's fine.
Yeah.
Although it pleased me when I saw on the floor somewhere there was like the drawing out of the actual Squid Game, not the like from the final challenge in the thing, the actual like game the whole thing was named after. I was like, oh, that's Squid Game. I'm like, not killing people, just the thing that kids would do, I guess.
I know what you're. Yeah, they had a lot of cool.
But like the Squid Game itself is based on like it has a you can't actually search for it now because it only brings back things about the TV show. But Squid Game game. You go. If you hit the amusingly, searching for Squid Game game brings up the Wikipedia page about the game. But like there's drawings and circles and triangle and square on the ground that you kind of have to run around. And anyway, I saw one of those on the ground. I was like, actual Squid Game.
Mm-hmm.
Real life Squid Game.
That's really cool. That's cool. Okay, so you had some like food adventures. Are you on a trip? So you're doing the food stuff. Are you one of those like excursion people? Like, are you like gotta go on an excursion?
I mean, aside from the DMZ again, which was great, didn't do much of that. It was mostly like finding out different parts of Seoul, which is great. Well, again, talking about drama in Korea, like I know there's wars and such behind the North Korean South Korean fight, but what's wonderful is it's beautifully petty right now. In that, like, so they both have a settlement fairly close to the border within the DMZ, which both like flies a flag of their country. Except I guess maybe the South Korean flag went up first, because then the North Korean flag went up, and it was a bigger flag on a taller flagpole. And it's just it's silly things like that. We also caught them. They were playing. They had like speakers faced in the direction of North Korea, just playing loud K-pop across at them, and just like having to be on the other side and like listening to tinny in the distance K-pop your entire time. That's just really annoying.
I could see that. No, that's real. Did you tap into some of the fashion or any of the are you shopping on your trips or?
Not me. No. My wife certainly went in for the skincare stuff. So I spent a little bit of time hanging in stores, going, I guess there is a lot of moisturizer, and then waiting for a bit longer
with snail mucus.
Yes, it did find the snail mucus.
It's quality stuff. Whatever, Alex. Anywho, I'll add it
in my house too. I don't have a lot of face to use it on, but other people in my house
just find just like that. Just go like that, okay? Get the cheeks, get the cheekbones. Yes. Yeah. So speaking beyond Korean skincare, let's see. What do we have?
Hit up a baseball game there. That was quite
wow.
Fun.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah,
it's huge there, isn't it?
Really into their baseball. Yeah.
I have a friend from Taiwan. I don't know if it's the same there, but he said that for in Taiwan, every baseball player, at least the major players, have their own cheers that they do. Yes. And it's a very music. Was it like that in
Absolutely.
Korea too?
It was. So every time you're in bat, I think you're like cheerleaders and mascot were up dancing, and they all had their own song, or several songs and chants, and the whole crowd was into it, and it was an absolute party every time you were in bat. And then when the other team are in bat, you just hearing the party coming from the other side of the stadium, and it was incredible. So I used to play baseball as a kid in the UK, which is a difficult thing to do in the UK, because there were about 4 teams, and one of them was a US Army base, or Air Force base, and they just wipe the floor with us every time. So I know the game. I like the game, and I've seen a couple in the US before, and it's a bit quieter, right? I can see the people in the US kind of think that baseball can be a bit boring these days. I'm like, it wouldn't be.
I think
if
boring.
You were dancing the entire time.
If I was dancing the entire time, it'd be exciting. I think baseball's boring.
Just zhuzh it up. No, yeah.
Exactly. Brent's not happy about that.
No, I don't think it's boring, but
I'm sorry, Brent. I've been to baseball. I've been to baseball games. You can do whatever you want, Brent. You're here. You're the producer. I've been to baseball games. I've been to World Series games. It's very special. The energy is great. It's not the most fun I ever had at a baseball game. I was in LA, but it was a Cubs game, and during the playoffs, and everyone thought I looked like a particular pitcher on the Cubs. I'll pull him up in a second. And so people were literally thought I was him and taking pictures with me.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Let's see. We'll see the
resemblance. Yes. Oh.
It's just purely beard. It's just a
Did you have a hat on? Did you have a hat on?
No, I didn't have a hat on.
Oh, so it's just pure beard energy.
It's just pure beard energy.
Yeah, that's true. All men with beards do look the same at the end of the day.
I mean, I'm just saying. Yes, I will not. Sorry. My brain went. I was like, dang, I feel how I could see the beard discrimination. Because then, it could be like, wow, do all brown people look alike? So then wow, I feel sad for you that they were like, wow, you just had a beard. So now all bearded men look alike. Wow, that's tough, Alex. That is it's a little unfortunate.
My favorite athlete that I ever got mistaken for, because I guess this happens more than once, was a child when I was working the aquarium, thought I was the then center of the Bulls, Niko Muricic. And the reason that this one was exciting is this guy's 7 feet tall. So some little kid thought I was so tall that I was a 7-foot center for the Chicago Bulls that just happened to be volunteering at the Shed Aquarium at the time.
But you are a little tall though, Alex. You
was not 7 feet.
Not 7 feet.
Well, yes, but to the child, they don't know the difference. Their
head's all the way back already. Yeah.
Whatever. We got to know Phil. We got a sense of our we warmed up a little bit. So
but now we really got to get to know Phil.
Yeah, because we have sponsored, not sponsored, which is our items. I'm very thrilled for sponsored, not sponsored, because I came ready.
You go hit it.
I am literally throwing y'all a little curveball today. Today we are going dryer sheets. Yep. I taking us on a whole different direction. I randomly was at the store and I saw these and I was like, this can't be a thing. When I tell you the scent is just great. I don't know, it's added a little pizzazz to my laundry adventure. I'm also reminded that I might be getting old, that I'm thrilled about wool dryer balls.
That's myrrh and frankincense.
That might be it.
It felt very, I know. I was just like, wow, this felt very biblical. But I was like, wow. So anyways, if you're into frankincense and myrrh, feel free to
feels so biblical.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm telling you. But
they should be using that in a tagline there. So
biblically
fresh.
It's funny because I was just like, oh wow. I don't know. It's I've read the spiritual text. I was like, I don't know that this is what I had in mind for frankincense and myrrh. But when I smelled the frankincense, I was like, ooh, I could see this. I could see why it was a thing in the biblical times. I was like, this is the aroma. Okay, so yes, thank you for joining. Little sponsored, not sponsored. I took us on a different direction, but I was very thrilled and excited about my discovery. So yeah.
Bill, are you ready or do you want me to go?
Hold on, I gotta dive into a bag to
you go dive into your bag. I'll start talking. So first of all, I took some Brent suggestions from last week, and I got some fun new drinks. I tried the Spindrift soda, and I tried the Waterloo spiced mango sorbet. The Waterloo's fine. These Spindrift sodas are quite good, but I almost wish they didn't call them soda because I feel like it's they're good, but not as soda. So that's my thing there. I've got more for y'all because I do. I'm gonna give a shout out to one of my favorite people to go visit at my local farmers market because you can get these things elsewhere too.
Nice.
Patter makes a great bar. I'm a big bar guy. These are very simple ingredients. They're clean, and they just taste really good. And if you ever come across these, highly recommend them. Maybe when everyone comes here in July for our team's offsite, I'll get everyone some. They're just really good. And the woman who sells them is super nice. And, big fan. And she makes a few of them that don't have nuts in them, so I can send them to school with Isla too. And then I'm going to do a book, and I wasn't sure what book to do. And then we talked about education and AI, and I thought of this book. You a sci-fi reader, Phil?
I read that I finished reading it a couple of months ago.
Nice.
That's a strange book.
It's a strange book.
It's incredible, but
it ranges all the way from 3D printing, material science to AI education to weird collective intelligence stuff. I don't know have you read any of his other books?
I did read Snow Crash as well.
Okay. Snow Crash is a little more straightforward.
A
little more in its lane. He has one book called Anathem, which is the most mind-boggling thing. And once you get it, is the most amazing book ever. But the first time you read through, you're like, what is going on here? It's wild. But Neil Stephenson is a remarkably intelligent human, and the books that he writes are great. Like when he was writing his book, Seven Eves, he was working at Blue Origin, like helping them out with rocket stuff. And it's a book about rocket ships and things. But Snow Crash is just such an interesting idea of like what AI could be in education. And I love it for that. And I've read almost all of his books. There's some that I couldn't get through, but most of them I've read, and they're very, very good author. Highly recommend Neil Stephenson.
I get that. Like, I feel like first 70% of Diamond Age, I was like, I see what's going on here, and then it's just the last 30, it just devolved off the rails. And I don't know what is even happening anymore, or why, or what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite series of his is a really weird one. I think it was.
They get weirder. I'm terrified.
It was weird in that it's in its premise. So Quicksilver is the first book. It's one of his few series, and it's a historical science fiction book following around a few different people. One of which is like Isaac Newton's college roommate. And it's a wild romp through history with like this guy's done a lot of research about like the different scientists that were creating the scientific revolution, and like Boyle and Leibniz and like all these names that you know from like science class. The characters are in it because they were all around at the same time. And so it follows around him along with like a pirate, like a swashbuckling pirate. It's super cool. So
yeah, that sounds awesome.
Yeah. And feeds into another one of his books, Cryptonomicon, which takes place in the current day, but has some similar characters too. Anyways, I'm done ranting about books. I do that a lot.
We worked with somebody to try to build an example version of the Victorian Ladies Primer from Diamond Age. And I'm just going to link in chat. Hold on. It was a great watch of a video in the end. I recommend just having a fun time with that, like seeing how close we can get to something like the book from Diamond Age. Now it was worth a watch. It was
the Young Ladies Illustrated Primer, I think.
That's the one. Sorry. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, the naming and Anyway, that was a fun video to help make. And yeah, Diamond Age, madness. I mean, you said collective intelligence. I thought it was mostly an underwater sex cult, which
I was trying to not say that. There was also like drugs.
Sorry,
involved.
I'm bringing that to your stream. I'm afraid.
No, you're fine. You can bring that to our stream. There was also like some weird drugs. Like it was like a weird rave thing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was just trying to be very on top because that's the point.
Because it was all sounding very normal at this point.
It was like, very normal so until the guy literally goes underwater. And
I love how Phil is like, don't be surprised if you see something. If you get to the last changes, it felt very like you're like, no. I don't think you understand the magnitude of like it went left. It's like, what do you mean it went left?
It got weird.
That was very important for the outcome of the book. It was
you're like no, it got interesting. But yes, Phil,
that's why Snow Crash was very straightforward. Yeah,
that's real.
Also, great book though. That's one of if somebody wants to read one of his books, I usually recommend that one.
Yeah. That was fun. I sort of hated the characters in that because they were. I mean, maybe it was partially the point.
You mean hero protagonist?
Hero protagonist. It kind of points. I just thought they were all trashily written as characters.
It's one of his first.
It wasn't hard to read, but it was fun. Yeah.
It's one of his first books. His very first book is about an eco-terrorist who goes around and like blows up like things to try to save the environment. So.
I did also like actually in Snow Crash, like everyone's all about that invented the metaverse. I don't know that invented this, but like I always call back to Snow Crash because there was the librarian kind of inside of the metaverse whose job it was to sort through enormous amounts of information and bring the relevant stuff to what he was researching at the time. And I'm like, well, that's just RAG. He invented RAG. In 1988 or whenever it was written.
Or just realize that like something like that was going to be necessary. I also often wonder, is it like, does science fiction predict the future or does it influence the future? And I think it's a little bit of both.
Definitely.
I see it. I feel like a lot of it influences in some ways, because I do think a lot of folks are like, oh, that looked cool on the screen. What if we tried to build this? Like, the amount of times that it's like, let me try making this, or what, like, especially nowadays, I feel like I'll see this sometimes on TikTok. Someone's like, here was a crazy recipe I saw on the screen. Let me see if I could like recreate this random dessert that like looks cool. I guess I'm trying to say I don't see people as being that creative. Lately, I feel like our brains are so simplistic sometimes, and they're like, someone's like, I saw this somewhere, so like, let me,
let's do it.
Let's do it. I'm inspired. That's the word. I think I find that people are very inspired by, whether it's nature, even with art, right? Like art, someone's like, oh, I walked by and a tree inspired me, right? Like, now I made this thing. So I just feel like I've seen more influence from like books and film into what's going to be cool now, though, is that we've seen so much of what's possible. Now it's going to be kind of cool to see like what kind of art people create nowadays. Given what we know.
So Phil, what do you got for us?
What do I got? So I almost mentioned this in hobbies section as well, but one of my other hobbies, something I got back into was yo-yoing. It's a real thing, and so it's as a product, sponsored, not sponsored. Is this? This is my favorite. It's a shortcut yo-yo by Yo-Yo Friends, and it's fun. It's a lot of fun. I used to play with yo-yos when I was like 13, and then like 2 years ago, I was like, I used to do that. What's going on in that world? And it's better. It's like an aluminium yo-yo, and it's hold on.
You can do some yo-yo tricks.
I'll see if I can show you something without breaking a bunch of stuff around me.
Okay. Wow, this is great. Look at us. It's first on stream.
Yeah, you're working the cradle. That's boring, but I think you can still fix that. Oh, there we go. I haven't done this for too long, so I'm gonna stop there before I break something.
Wow, is that a first on stream? I don't think that we've ever had live yo-yoing.
We have not had live yo-yos on stream before.
Yeah.
Wow, this is huge. This is huge. Wow, that's cool. That is like
that was like, great.
Yeah.
Are you gonna do that for your signal talk? Or are you gonna be yo-yoing?
No. It's just an hour and 15 minutes of
yo-yo. Watch me yo-yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
We got full confirmation from Brent that the Twilio stream first, because Brent's been on every single Twilio stream ever.
Brent knows the things. Okay, so you're not doing yo-yoing for your whole talk, so we don't need to tell Andrew to update your. We don't need to tell him to update the page. Great. So what are you doing? What are you doing for Signal? Just to confirm.
Just to confirm, there is no yo-yos planned for any Signal talk. If I run out of content, maybe. But okay. No, we'll. For my Signal talk, I've got a workshop. That's what it's an hour and 15 or something. I got a workshop where we're going to be building agents that respond to emails. Because emails. So agents is obviously the hot thing for this year. Like, let's make these AI tools do more than just churn text back at us. Let's have them do stuff. And the funny thing is that doesn't work so well in a chat environment, which is kind of that dominant use of AI at the moment, right? Because like agents, when they're spending their time thinking and doing things, they take a lot more time. But email is like, email is not as immediate. You don't expect email to be immediate. Apart from when you try and sign into a website and they're like, we sent you a link to sign in, and then you're like, it didn't arrive immediately. What is going on here? Other than that, we don't expect email to be immediate. And so we can actually have interactions with, I think, agents over email, over the slightly slower medium, and get better things done. And then, of course, everybody already has email. This is always the Twilio argument for everything, right? You've always got SMS in your pocket. You can always make a phone call. You can always send an email. You don't need an app. You don't need kind of something for it. And so, like, if you're building these agent experiences for your businesses, for your products, you can do so over email and have people kind of experience that, or I don't know. I'm looking into like how we can make onboarding better, for example, via email, because that onboarding email, that welcome, you just signed up, always comes from that unless you're a tiny startup where it comes from the CEO, because there's only the CEO and 2 other people working on stuff. It's coming from like do not reply it
in there,
whatever, and and that's there's good reasons for that. Good reasons for that. If Twilio or if DataStax were just like emailing and saying, okay, yeah, sure, reply to someone, that person's inbox would be fairly soon. Fairly swiftly overwhelmed, or it's just going into some ticketing system, and it'll be some support agent will get to it at some point, and they'll do a great job of it, but that's going to take a lot more time. And I know talked about email being asynchronous, but that's sort of overwhelming as well. So it's a scaling problem. It's a scaling issue, and thus, if we can have agents kind of intelligently help people out based on their kind of responses, I think that could really improve things like onboarding, or that post-purchase experience if you're in a shop. And so that's kind of what we're going to look into how to build, and we're going to do that using obviously SendGrid and a bit of Langflow to build our agents with.
Nice. Yeah, I have your talk pulled up here. Looks.
It says it in much fewer words.
Yeah. Email is a natural interface for business. I think that's a great idea. And so what inspired you to like, you were just, I mean, you already mentioned that it's asynchronous, which is one of the reasons you wanted to use SendGrid and email, right? Is that like the main thing that inspired you to kind of weave it that way?
I think so, because like the sending emails with an email service is boring. Right, sending emails is sending emails. It's only, I think, interesting when you get people to respond to them, and now the response can start doing more interesting things to that. So that's I think what's fun about it.
I also think email initially felt very like this is a repository of just info, like this is where info goes. I don't know that we often saw emails like, let's have a conversation here, or let's like engage. It's just like,
but it's here's inherently a two-way thing.
But it's like, most of the times it's just like, all right, here's your confirmation for your flight. It's like a record keeper, in some ways. So I do love the reminder that like, hey, this can do a lot more. And I do think it's going to be interesting to see kind of, little email, not saying email comeback, because but I do think email being able to like be more in the conversation and have its
absolutely.
moments.
And look, I spent a bit of time. Have you either of you worked with like I've immediately forgotten the name. AMP emails, the sort of interactive inside the email emails.
I feel like I may have seen some of those like.
I mean, you've probably seen it if you've ever used like a Google Doc or something like that, and somebody comments on it. And so, like, if you're using Gmail or something like that, you can go and comment back on the doc without ever leaving the email.
Okay,
and that's interactive, like JavaScript inside emails, basically. And I was excited about that a while back, but it does seem somewhat like not enough people got excited about it, and like maybe. I've seen Google do it, but they invented the thing, and I've seen Asana do it. Like that's the other. Tool
I feel like email dealt with some drama, right? With like you had things like Slack coming into the mix, and then like it changed user behavior. So folks are like, okay, don't tell anybody, even though I'm telling it on stream. But like for a while, like sometimes I'm like, stop emailing me, send me a Slack message. Like there's sometimes if I'm on like a long thread, I'm like, why is this an email? Like email to me, I'm just like, So I think Slack kind of changed our relationship, but now I do think we can kind of revive, like, what can our relationship to email be that goes beyond what we've typically have used it for, which is like CC 15 million people and make sure everyone's in the loop. Or so I don't know. I think there's some possibilities there.
I remember seeing a talk from somebody at Slack who was just like, we've solved business communication. No more of those reply all email chains. And I'm like, I don't know if you guys know, but you invented @here and @channel. You made notifications happen for the reply chain.
Yeah, someone's like, let's take it up a notch. I will say, I don't know what. Yeah, someone definitely probably sparked this whole, like, you're communicating across time zones channel. Like, are you sure?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You want to send this? No, yeah.
Okay,
so
one company I was in, somebody @channeled like a happy Father's Day to like a whole social channel or something. I'm like, Father's Day is different around the world. @channel is a notification to everybody, and it's a Sunday. Get off Slack.
You're like everything about this is wrong. No, I feel that. Okay, so not that we're trying to be in your business, but we kind of are. Anything that you'd like to show us?
Well, I have another question about that. Who do you want? Like, what's the ideal? Like, what personas do you think? What type of people do you think are going to come to your talk or will get the most out of it?
Ooh, that's a good question. I think. I mean, it's going to be a technical talk. It's definitely it's targeted at developers, but it's targeted at developers. I think that we want to understand how this kind of agent stuff is going to help them, because I think there's so much hype around this at the moment that you need to kind of get your hands on with it and understand it, and that is the idea. And so. So our medium is email, but the outcome, I think, hopefully, because we understand. I think we understand. Sending and receiving emails with ZenGrid is straightforward. That's the point of it. But we need to understand like what we can do on the other end of that, and so that's the idea. Understanding kind of what an agent is, how it works, and how you can hook it up to whatever your inputs are, really. But I do genuinely, I have some fun ideas, I think, about email and what we can do with that.
Nice.
I love the enthusiasm for email. So, Signal participants, this is your guy. The joy for email is here. Like, where else would you want? This is great.
We can't have JavaScript in emails. I tried that. No one seemed to take on with that. But we can definitely get more fun stuff happening on the other end of it.
Yeah, exactly. So. It's so much fun. Would you be open to like sharing your screen and showing us some Langflow stuff and how you might build parts that we don't want to give everything away, but how you might build parts of this back end and how it all comes together?
Of course. Oh, hold on. Yep.
Time for the screen share. By the way, I like the DataStax shirt you got going. Is that like a
cool,
Pegasus on it? Or no, it's a rhino with wings.
Rhino with wings.
Nice.
This is Bodhi. Bodhi is a rhino with wings. We have a full backstory for them. Which if we there's my screen. There's Bodhi. Look at that.
Why did I was gonna get like a sleeve. You're gonna have like an owl and then a flying rhino. Just
I'm collecting plushies of that kind of stuff. Actually, we've got Bodhi.
Good.
Wow!
I managed to get one of the owls.
We don't even have one of those. Those are hard to find.
Wow, I got this in Berlin last year. Of Marius.
Too good. Noted.
So now they hang out on my shelf.
Wow, I love this.
Well, feel free to bring some Bodhi DataStax swag with you to Signal. If you
absolutely, yeah.
Unload that. That's a shirt I would wear.
We've got some. I have to find out what shirts. That's possible, actually. Maybe we'll see. I've definitely got some cool stickers.
Okay. Those are the stickers are good too.
Stickers are good.
Scrolling down,
yeah. So yes, I'll see what I can do about this. Good point. This is cool. We at this bottom left image here, we did a afternoon kind of event in London in like an art sort of sort of very modern art thing. It was all about like projections on the walls, and so we were just projecting Bodhi up on the wall in the and like the screen was also a projection on the wall, and everything was projected. And then we did a interactive art thing with the projections. A lot of fun, but just enormous rhinos.
I feel like that could get a little scary after a while, but just
it was a bit intense inside this big purple cube of a room.
That's real. That's real. Okay.
Cool. I'm building this agent stuff with Langflow, and I will say actually, so Langflow is I said it earlier, open source. It's a Python application, so you can kind of just pip install Langflow or UV pip install Langflow, because UV is much quicker and better at that. But it's available on the DataStax platform, but that's not the thing I'm most excited. We actually just recently we launched like an alpha of a desktop version, which is so much easier to install than Python things, especially if you don't normally use Python much. So I've got Langflow desktop just installed, and so the whole thing just works here on my machine, which I'm kind of cool. I think it's fun. And then it's not very exciting when you've got your projects here, but I just want to show.
Can you zoom in a little bit? It's like a little hard to.
Oh no, no. Being a desktop application.
So it goes.
Oh no.
You could make the window smaller and just share the window.
That's a good point. Let's do that. Hold on. Stop that. Represent my window.
I will say, doing a late night stream is not as bad as I thought. I have it's my little evening kick. It's like,
hey, it's past 5 o'clock for me. It's past 5 o'clock for you.
I was a little concerned at first. Okay, yes, we see it.
Yeah,
that's better.
Cool.
Oh, that is better. Nice. And that that is good. That's feedback for the project there as well. We should be able to zoom in on those.
See, this is great.
Alpha. It's an alpha, right? It's allowed to. It's new. Cool. Okay.
Brent, I'm glad you have food.
No falling over. Yeah.
Brent cooked himself a 7-course meal in the first hour of the stream. It's pretty impressive.
Well, I like that, but it's always the sad thing about streams is that none of us, the rest of us, are not going to get that 7-course meal.
Well, unless we had a food stream, a cooking stream, then maybe we would be. Let's get on it.
That's what the round the clock streaming is for. So I can make up a breakfast down here whilst y'all are making dinner.
Yeah. Don't give us ideas. Don't give us too many ideas.
And then we need somebody
in the mid-Pacific.
I feel we need someone in Hawaii who's going to be making lunch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Face is covered.
It just reminded me. We were talking about like inventing things out of science fiction. We did manage to invent one of those, and everybody hated it, which was video call. The video phone is we invented that, and now we're stuck with it. Streams are much better than that.
I'm ready for the full Isaac Asimov version where you like fully project in 3 dimensions and can walk around a room.
Yeah. Well, that's what people are trying to. That's what Apple's trying to do with the Vision Pro and stuff. Right?
Yeah.
Except you didn't have to strap a whole thing to your face with that. We'll get there. In the current future that we live in, Langflow does make things nice and easy to build with. I want to show you stuff. I'm excited.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited. So I always find this is important to like the getting started. This like build a new flow thing is great because there's a whole bunch of templates and use cases assistants, and I haven't looked through barely any of these, honestly. I have to go create my own instead, but there's so many good like kind of examples of stuff. But if I just like kick off just to show how it works, this is our Langflow canvas and a very simple flow. So we get a chat input. That's where the chat comes from. It doesn't have to be chat, of course. This is just, it's sort of, again, this, when you hook up an email to this, the input goes in through chat input technically, but but it's not necessarily chat. It's just a text input. You can actually add file input to it as well if you want to do some stuff with files, but probably not going to do that right now. We get then a model, of course. This is OpenAI right now. That's like kind of the default one that pops up is GPT-4o Mini. And take a small moment to be like, I know you said the latest OpenAI model, or OpenAI 4 or whatever is behaving weirdly. Like somebody has got to sort the versioning out in the names of
the name convention.
It's
wild how confusing it is.
Yeah. And GPT 4.5 came out before 4.1.
Well, yeah, and that's different because that was and then 4.0 versus 4.4 versus yeah, it's
because it's 4.0 because O stands for Omni.
Right, I understand, but and then there's also 0.03 is different than 3.0, like
and 0.4. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, well, there's 4.0 and 0.4. Yeah, it's rough, but they're doing other stuff instead, I guess. They're doing cool stuff, but it's so not understandable.
Some guy probably named Sam is like, no, this makes perfect sense.
But it's not just OpenAI doing it, right? Because Claude's
they're all
Anthropic are like, we've got Haiku and Sonnet, and we've got Sonnet 3 and 3.5 and 3.7 because it's bigger than 3.6, but it's smaller than 3.8.
Yeah,
it's definitely not 4 yet.
No, and they probably wanted 3.75, but they decided that was too long. Or all the different. I mean, the llama models are all over the place too. The naming is, I think here's the thing. I think we're used to it. Like Apple comes out with some other weird California-based name for a OS, but it's like every year or two, right?
But we're still on OS 10 with Apple, right? Like, and it's been OS 10 for the last 15 years.
Is it Sierra or is it I don't know. There's different names for them.
Cats, right?
What?
There used to be big cats. There was lion and leopard and
right. And now, right now, exactly. But like that was like every year. When you have a new model every 2 months and it's got a whole new name, it gets a little rough. And you know what? I feel for them. Having to name that much stuff is difficult.
Yeah, so we're certainly in the Wild West. Anyway, it's nice and easy to see, at least in this little component here, that we've got models to choose from.
And can you choose a bunch of different AI providers here?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we've got a whole bunch of models down the left-hand side.
Oh yeah,
so
you do.
If you wanted to throw Grok or whatever, I don't have a Grok key, so I don't know why I did that.
No.
Google Generative AI. If you wanted to use Gemini, slightly more sane, but not much better naming conventions there. So you can use all you need is the API key basically to plug into it. You can even run Olama if you're running your models locally.
Oh, nice.
Or like if you're hosting Olama somewhere for yourself, you can hook up to it.
I was gonna say my computer's not beefy enough for that.
I'm not gonna make Olama try and do anything whilst also streaming.
No. Please don't. Thank you.
Great way.
Thank you, Phil. I feel like you've gotten the talk from Chef Brent at some point about that.
Yeah. That's literally when you said that, I was like, that sounds like Chef Brent was in your ear and like gave you a talking to. I love how we're all talking, and then I was like, wow, Chef Brent is on the behind the scenes. So let's not talk too much. Might disappear. Okay, back to you.
Drilled well with this. Yeah. We know. Yeah, I mean, if I'd have really thought ahead of time, I'd have plugged in another computer to stream from, and then.
Yeah. Sorry. Just put it on a shirt, please. Don't run models.
Let's not run models. Yeah, we'll stick with the APIs.
My first job was in the data center world, so like, there's a part of me that still wishes that every computer is just a dumb terminal to some supercomputer in the cloud. Which I wish we were there, and some people are, but we're not.
Yeah, no, I like pushing stuff down to the device myself. Sorry,
it's easy.
But then, because I've been a web developer and
it's also just like easier to deal with when it's like it's there. You have control over it. When it's in the cloud, things can go wrong. Like the I/O inputs are weird. Yeah.
Oh yeah. I have a talk and a project to build for let's say next month which is like building an entire like AI stuff in the browser. Like I'm going for build a full language to voice to voice, language to language translator in the browser that can run offline. And I have not built it yet, but I believe it's possible.
Yeah. Yes.
That one's
yeah.
It's
like it.
Do it over you could use conversation relay and do it over phone. Can you telework for Twilio?
I mean, that's not fully offline, though, is it? Can I have it over the
no,
phone?
you're still using your phone. That's true. It's not fully offline.
Still cool though. I mean, obviously, yeah, doing that on a phone call, very cool. But yeah, I just wanted to see how much I could make the browser do it. And you can get all the models for it, or some built-in models. It's exciting.
Nice. So this is just such a nice visual display of like what a function looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You got your inputs, actually inputs to this guy, and yeah. Right. So again, this is absolutely like our simplest flow. We've got a prompt here, which in this case just says pretty bit small there. Answer the user as if you're a Gen AI expert, enthusiastic about helping them build something fresh. Like, cool, thank you, default prompt. And then like we can just kind of build our thing, which makes sure everything works. And then you get a playground to kind of chat with it and say, all right, what do you haven't typed yet this morning.
We'll get you there. You haven't done your proper typing warm-ups. Are you wearing your coding gloves?
I've not got any. Do you know what? I didn't ever get coding gloves.
Oh no, Phil.
Very sad. I know. Woo! Look at that. So, this very enthusiastic GPT-4o mini, who is a Gen AI expert, is giving me ideas about what to build. I know. It's
personal finance tracker. Great. Yeah, travel planning app. That's good for you. It knows you.
Yeah. It does. This is its entire history. It doesn't know.
Yeah.
It doesn't say that to anyone. It'd be nice.
So, you're like,
that's part of it, like though, right? Like,
yeah.
Give it memory, give it stuff. Yeah.
So, other widgets. Like I see you've got all these different model widgets. Are there other widgets that integrate with other tools, or like do people build them out themselves? Like what other kind of stuff can you pull in?
I'm gonna kick out and just go into the agent example, because rather than pull a bunch of things apart and put them back together, I'm just gonna drop into this one and say this is another new one. And so in this case, instead of the model component, we've now got an agent component. So you can pick your provider. In this case, we'll stick with OpenAI and GPT-4o in this case, because I've got the API key there and it's ready to go. And this agent then has, in this case, a couple of tools, which are just provided to it. And so it has the opportunity to use those tools. And the user, I love giving an agent a calculator to use, because I really do think we need to stop trying to get language models to add things up.
Did you ever see any of Ricky Robinette's early AI magic tricks?
I saw one video a long time ago.
He was one of the first. I mean, I don't know if he was the first people to figure this out, but like he figured out before his common knowledge that like if you ask AI to like ChatGPT 3 or 3.5 to roll a dice, it always said 4. Or like if you asked it to like pick a random like woodland creature, it would always pick. It was like 70% of the time it'd be deer, and 25% of the time it'd be fox, and then it was like, it was just like that. So like, I think they fixed some of these, but the random stuff was not random at all, right? Exactly as Brent's saying. And so he did these pretty wild magic tricks, knowing that you were going to get a specific answer if you asked AI to roll a dice for you.
That's pretty good. I like that. I've retooled this original one to say return a dice roll and turn it into GPT 3.5, and let's see what it does. 4. Okay, roll again. 4. It's just acting out the XKCD comic, isn't it? It was the 4 was chosen by a random dice in the first place, and now it's guaranteed to be random.
Yeah.
4. Okay.
Yeah. So the biggest one he did was at one point he did it in a way where he then had his backdrop was a Times Square billboard, and he had like the billboard in Times Square changed based on the role, but like he again knew what it was going to be.
That's very cool.
Yeah,
that's very cool. Cool. I'm glad we managed to prove that, even with 4.0.
I know. They haven't fixed it.
So
thank you for giving the calculator for simple stuff.
Yes, I like that. And then the other one's like a URL. This is not an API or anything. It's just like, hey, you can use any URLs to go fetch things off the web. And then we got the agent, we got our chat input and our chat output. And so if I build all of that just to make sure it's fine, Came up red for a second there. And so what we can have it do, like we can make it add things up. Hold on. Just see what it's going to say for this. 4.
Yeah,
Incredible.
tell it to roll 3 dice and add the responses, maybe.
Exactly. Roll 3 dice and add up response. And so you can actually...
new numbers.
Annoyingly, it didn't use the calculator for that, but it did get it right at least.
Okay. That's
but
good.
I see that this is the thing about agents and tools, is that you describe your tool and you give it the opportunity to use it, but it does not have to take that opportunity if it doesn't want to, which is kind of frustrating at times.
I have a toddler. I get it.
I'm gonna say, I was like, sounds like a child's very on brand.
You've been very explicit about what it can do and what it cannot do, and it will do whatever it wants.
There's a lot of but mommy said.
No, that is from your so I guess also for what's going on in my brain. Okay, slow down, Bianca. Okay, so in my brain I'm like, all right, what were some of your like early projects, right? Like once you saw this, you're like, okay, what do I want to create? What was going through your head? Walk us through.
Do you know what? Like I'm finding that like kind of hard, because like I sit in this difficult position between like I still don't think these are always as trustworthy as you can make them, and then building real applications is kind of hard with that.
So you're saying you have trust issues with
building a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But like it's still smart. Like so this kind of example here. So I asked it for the exchange rate and then to tell me how much 150 Australian dollars is in US dollars right now. And again, it's ignoring the calculator, which is so frustrating. But it did make up an exchange rate API. And go and call it, and then get the exchange rate out of that, and then make some stuff up.
Oh, it's all made up,
right? The math was made up, I guess, but the exchange rate was not. I think.
Okay. I see what you mean.
That off the
off the internet.
154, yeah, I've got off the internet, so I think that's kind of fun that it can do that.
I mean, I don't blame you. There was one stream. I was just like, once they started to put like the website thing within like within GPT, I was like, no, I don't trust the internet. I trust this little box, but I don't trust the internet. So I feel you. But I guess for me, it's like, if someone's going on here, right, they're like, I want to play around. I want to get started, right? Because like, another person might just be like, okay, what can I build, or how should I try to play around with this? Like, what would you encourage them?
Well, I actually think this is the great one. This like starter, this simple agent is a really good one to kind of start with. Like there are other example flows, like if you pick up the assistant kind of stuff, where you can look into like a research agent or stuff, and it gets a bit more complicated because this is kind of like multiple prompts and model calls in a row, and so this one is calling off to Tavily AI Search, which is a search API, and that's like a tool to this agent. But like we get like an initial generation of some stuff from OpenAI, which feeds into a prompt to the agent, which can use a web search, which then feeds into a prompt with its research findings to then synthesize with a final model and return stuff. And so you can kind of learn a lot of stuff from looking at those examples. But honestly, like the best thing I think is to be like, all right, what else can we add to this? If you wanted to add a tool to our agent here and see if it can use it alongside our calculator and URL, like what would you try and build? Love it. Yeah, if either of you had any kind of ideas on that, we have a lot of stuff available to it.
Brent wanted to know what's in YouTube. So what's in YouTube?
Yeah, I was looking.
There.
I was looking that too. I was like, ooh, what is there?
Yeah, you could have. Could you have it transcribe and summarize some videos for us?
So YouTube does transcriptions itself, but yes, you can go pull the YouTube transcripts in that one. What else can we do? YouTube is search transcripts trending video details. There we go. So we can get video details and statistics about YouTube videos. I don't have our YouTube API key handy, but yeah. My head. Has anybody got a YouTube? I don't have one off the top of my head, I'm afraid.
Wait, but the transcripts one. What information did the transcripts one need?
They probably all need the API key.
They all gonna need.
Oh no, it doesn't. Just the video URL.
What?
Okay. Let's look at that.
Cool. Let's use
that.
All
right, let's see. Let's try a video URL. What do we have?
I mean, which one of our videos do you want to do, Bianca?
And this one is just, let's see. Toyota. Do we have a link?
Pull my recent MCP one, because I was going to ask you a question about MCP later.
Oh, no, that's a good idea. Yeah.
That's a look at that, Alex. Live. We're live.
Here, I'll throw it in Twitch chat.
In the chat.
Get that from.
I like that approach though of just like layering. Kind of here's the baseline, and then it's like, how do you want to layer?
Yeah, cool. So what we can do with this is let's turn it into tool mode, so most of the components, in fact, if not all of them, can be like turned into a tool mode, which allows them to just hook up to an agent.
Nice.
And just do stuff. Oh no, it wants to get the video URL from that. Well, that's wrong tool mode for you. Let's not do that. We had it's out of tool mode. Back to the URL. We're going to get this URL. Otherwise, it's going to let the agent ask for a YouTube video instead, and we don't want that.
Yeah.
So we need to do something with that. For example, let's turn that into a prompt. Don't want tools there. A prompt. And the prompt can be in tool mode, but I need to give it a template, which is the transcript. So in prompts like this, you just make up variables with curly braces, and boop, and then it exists.
One of the wildest things I ever saw was like AIs using tools where you kind of don't need to tell it how to use it, just kind of figures it out. Which MCP takes to the next level, where like somebody else is helping you tell your agent.
Already told you.
How to do it. Yeah.
I need that. Close. So this is. Where's that gone? Accidentally turned out of tool mode there. That was a mistake. I'm just trying to write a description for it, because right now it just thinks it's a prompt. But I think I can write. No, that's. Type something. There we go. That's what I'm trying to do. It's a tool placeholder. It's not. The transcript of a video about MCP servers. Use this to learn about MCP. So hopefully that will describe it. Actually, that might also be the description. This is one of the fun things about Langflow. There's several places that might be the same thing. It's one of those, like, I think all open source AI toolkits and things like this right now, all of them have just grown so rapidly over the last 2 years, basically. Like none of this existed 2 years ago. It just couldn't. In fact, like we're basically like it's like 25 months since OpenAI released the GPT 3.5 API. And so that was the first time we really kind of got proper hands on any one of these good models to do anything with. And so everything exists since then. And so some of the things, and Langflow is based upon LangChain. And that's a mess of a project. It's incredible, but it's a ginormous mess of code. Because people have just been building and building and building, and it's great.
I remember at one point I tried to go to one of Lizzie's LangChain demos or blog posts. 6 months old. 6 months, not that long. Didn't work. LangChain had been totally rewritten in that time. It's
absolutely wild.
So I have a question about MCP, which is like, how does MCP play into this? Like, can you use MCP servers to kind of generate some of the tools or help with that?
Yes.
Like in Langflow.
You can. Two things there. Did we ask the thing? He didn't actually ask the model. Brilliant. I'm not good at writing these descriptions, apparently. Can MCP be used? Yes. So what can we do with MCP? So this is actually... hello. So I have two answers for you. Like, this is running Langflow 1.3.4, I think. With 1.3.3, but 1.4 just came out yesterday, and is not currently available in the desktop version, but is available if you install via Python. And Langflow 1.4 makes things, I think, ever so slightly nicer around MCP stuff. But yeah, you can absolutely connect to an MCP server and use their tools.
Nice.
And so if you have, do I have an MCP server running?
Oh yeah, there's a Twilio one, but it's not in the cloud yet. You have to run it locally.
Yeah, that's just what I'm thinking.
That's the weird thing. I feel like MCP servers are like, they're going to get so much more useful once they're like, actually, you can just point to a URL and have them go.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Which is starting, I think.
Kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, I have just a local file system MCP server, which works with like Claude.
We're really putting you on the spot here.
We are.
Cool.
You're great about it. No, it's good.
This runs an npx command, and I'm like, I guess it started that up, but I don't know where it's running. How do I learn that? My God. If I can make this do stuff on my desktop via Langflow, I'll be pretty excited. But right now, I just don't know.
That's okay. It's there. That's what I wanted to know.
There. So you can run it, but also, and actually, I think that's one of the things that 1.4. I'm just going to delete that for now.
Brent's wondering if SSE is the remote mode. It might be. The problem is that most MCP servers now are basically, you have to run them locally. It's not like they're run perpetually somewhere in the cloud, so it's harder to.
That's the remote, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, standard in and out is just doing it locally. Right. SSE is you get a real URL, which you can still do locally, but that's probably not running that locally, but probably not running a URL. So yeah.
And Brent had another question, which is, how does Langflow compare to N8N?
Oh, that's a good question. So I've not used N8N, but people ask me that a lot, so I probably should at some point. I've always seen that like N8N seemed like it was a very much like a workflow builder, workflow automation and stuff. Whereas and a lot of that can be kind of agentic, I guess. So in ways like probably quite similar, but Langflow is very much concentrated on this idea of making the Gen AI stuff work as well as possible, and doing so, I think, in open source as well. Like, I think that's an important kind of distinguishing factor there. We have an active community of people who are building on this. I'm very pleased to say I have like 2 or 3 pull requests that I got accepted to Langflow as well. Not much of a Python developer over here, but because it's open source, you can get stuff into it. Yeah. It's cool for that reason. I even fixed. Oh my God. Off on a tangent for a second here, but I fixed an issue in Langflow. I also like found what the problem was in Node. There was a disagreement between Langflow and Node.js about like how multi-part form data responses are created. It's annoying in some respects, but like, so multi-part form data requests. I don't know, have you ever dug into a multi-part form data request?
No.
They like, in order to like bring it's not like just a JSON blob, right? You get like a boundary, which is sort of a random string, and then this boundary kind of sits as a string between all the items that are then put into the thing. And then on the server side, or whoever's receiving the request, kind of goes, the boundary is listed in the headers, and then it can break the thing up based on that. And that allows it to get files out as well as just like strings and things like that. And the spec has there's a spec for it, and it has no opinion on whether that should finish with a new line or not. A simple thing as a new line, and most implementations encourage, like, have a new line and deal with it, except for the fetch implementation that was built into Node.js, at least in an older version. That's been fixed now, but
This feels like such a rabbit hole to just dive into.
It really was. It really was. And yeah, so it was not adding a new line, and Langflow API was expecting a new line, and if it didn't have a new line, it just rejected the request. And I was just like, everything about this I'm doing is right, and it was buried deeply within Langflow and Node's fetch implementation. And that was several hours of like,
but you got there.
There's no agent that's vibe coding their way out of that one.
No. Well, they probably are, but they're probably writing an entire interpreter that removes the line, but only I feel like all my open source contributions were like documentation, because that's where I could shine. But so I worked somewhere where there was some tension between the, hey, we got to go do work that makes us money, and hey, we need to go put in work on this open source platform that we maintain. I used to work at a place that maintains robotic arm motion control library, a popular one. So how do you kind of I don't know if you want to share for yourself or maybe for DataStax, but how do you guys balance giving software away for free and putting your time in versus, getting paid for the work that you're doing at a for-profit company?
That's a great question. So we have a dedicated team for Langflow. The team was kind of bought as part of the, I guess you don't really buy an open source project. I guess it's technically copyright us, even though it's open source now, but it was I guess acqui-hiring in some respects. And we have this great dedicated team to the Langflow application, which is great because they don't have to be concerned about the rest of it. And whilst meanwhile the database is kind of going away, making the money. Now I am certain that there are people working on how to turn this into a revenue generating thing as well. But right now, like it gives us a whole load of insight into the Gen AI community and what people are building and what they want to build using it. So it's actually like kind of really useful as a tool to build applications with, but also to like understand the community with as well. So I think that's kind of where it works well for us at the moment. I was gonna say when I started, I was like describing DataStax and everything from where it came from. We're in an interesting position right now where just a couple of months ago, IBM announced that they were acquiring us. So very soon, this is going to be IBM Langflow. Wow. I'm sure that won't necessarily make its way onto langflow.org. But
have you been through an acquisition before? How are you feeling?
I've never been part of an acquired company before. It's sort of, oh god, back before I was a developer evangelist, I worked on a e-commerce store called Stickygram, later called Sticky9, which was a way to turn Instagram photos into fridge magnets, which is cool. And but it was kind of popular. I
love the early
but I was
like the internet of the early 2000s. Yeah.
We launched this on a wave of like the Instagram API becoming available. So it was very exciting. And well, fun thing about that was, of course, like back in those days, everybody thought Instagram was like just hipsters taking pictures of flat whites in coffee shops and things like that. And our biggest customer was parents with pictures of their children. And it was like, actually, like Instagram wanted you to think everyone's just being hip and cool and stuff, but really it was just it's pictures of kids. Anyway, so that company got acquired, but like that company was part of the agency I was working for. So like we went through this weird acquisition in which we handed over a bunch of stuff, and then we worked there for 6 months, and then we all came home again and went back to our agency. And that was really nice because like I didn't want to leave the people I was working with. Yeah, there was just a small team of us that kind of like got embedded over there. So that's the closest I've been to being acquired before it sort of happened. So yeah, I'm it's all interesting. There's a lot to go on, and we're not a huge company about to join a very huge company, so a lot of stuff going on. I mean, a lot of exciting stuff, like the resources that IBM can bring to this, and they are supporters of a lot of open source stuff, of course. And so it's very exciting to see where Langflow could go with that backing as well, and see the agents, see the applications people can build with that. But yeah, we might not see much more of the DataStax name in the future, as it'll all be IBM stuff.
Yeah,
but
even
Langflow,
just like
Langflow will live on.
Yeah, even just like I think the relationships, right? So it's like IBM also has all these different, different kind of company groups. So I think even just like how does that play around with like different, different companies, issues, solution, problems. We're getting to that time where my
getting to the end,
my brain.
I feel like that acquisition is nice. I'm thinking of a friend who worked for Oracle forever and then was like, I gotta get out of here. I can't be at Oracle, and left and went to another company. And 6 months later, they got bought by Oracle, and he's like, God, I can't get away.
Damn.
There's a non-zero set of people at DataStax that are also like, oh, back to IBM then.
yeah.
They've done similar. I don't know if it was, I don't know what the reasons were they left, but yeah, there's a bunch of people who absolutely have worked there before, and they're like going back, and they're like, all right,
yeah.
At least they have a bit more idea what to expect, I think.
There you go. So
I have no idea. It's going to be Twilio was the biggest company I'd worked for, at like the 8,000 size, and now we're going to 270, 280,000 people or something.
Twilio is the biggest company I've worked at by a factor of 100. I've only worked at startups before Twilio. I guess I contracted at someone a little bigger, but that was only for like a little while.
Yeah.
I used to think like 1,400 was a lot.
That is big.
That's pretty
yeah,
big.
but then you're like Twilio. It's just like,
and look at IBM. He's talking about IBM, which is hundreds of thousands.
Yeah, exactly. I joined Twilio, then it was 300 people. So then I went to. There's quite a lot of growth over that time.
Wild. Phil, can I ask you a deep question?
Absolutely.
What inspires you to build?
So I used to love building things that actually really used to love building things that people would use and get joy out of. And that counts, I think, for that like Instagram fridge magnet thing. The amount of joy, the amount of things like people really loved about that was great. That same company, we built a craft beer to your desk delivery service. Yes, it was in the very low interest rate period. It was a great service, but because we were really bootstrapping it properly, like on a Friday afternoon, we would the people building it would drive around with like cases of craft beer and take them into offices, and so that those offices could have their like Friday afternoon drinks, and the cheers you get when you're bringing a box of beer to a bunch of people is just joy. And then one of the first things I just built on my own was like a way to read your iTunes library, which is a big XML blob, and then turn that into like links to Spotify accounts. It was before Spotify had an API, and again like that just like people loved using it. Like I used it myself. I was like, it was when Spotify was really new, and they would like it didn't have all the recommendation stuff. You just had to be like, what do I want to listen to now, and think about it. But if you had an existing iTunes library or one you could crib from, uploading the XML and getting a bunch of links to that was just, and people like using it. And so I used to do that. Now I love building to help teach people that kind of stuff, and that's why I got like deep into like data and making search like work better for these RAG applications. And I got weirdly into like data chunking for a while, like just turning text into chunks of data, which is a very dull thing. But I did it and I built an example application for it, which I called Chunkers, and it doesn't do the most exciting thing, but I just linked it in the Twitch chat. It just shows you like what different like chunking strategies will do to your text. silly thing, but I was very excited about it. And anybody who's ever had to like look and understand text chunking since then has actually really enjoyed using it. And so yeah, I love building for teaching right now. I think when I was building those early applications, and I had a team for most of them, but even the silly ones of my own that worked out, it was relatively early internet, so it didn't have to look good. It just had to do something interesting. And now it's a lot harder to do that kind of thing. Especially because people have, vibe coding beautiful interfaces, and that's apparently not me. In fact, in the example app I'm building right now, it vibed out an interface, and it's the most uninteresting interface you've ever seen. It was incredible.
You're like not vibes. I love how you kind of mentioned this aspect of like delight and joy. Has there been any like tool or technology that you feel like has really provided a level of delight or joy for you recently, or even generally?
Oh, that's an interesting one. A tool that's look, I'm getting on board with more of the and again, I don't want to say vibe coding, but I want to say like coding with assistants or agents. Copilot has been the one that's worked best for me right now, and I think that's because it lives in VS Code where I do live, and because I've seen it improve over all of that time as well. Like I got into the GitHub Copilot like beta in the mid 2021 when it first came out, and it just spewed garbage out at me. Sometimes it was right, but a lot of the times it's like auto completing was just terrible, including the times it would like go into a big loop of just a recursive loop of the same garbage line of code, then indented. And it was just, I just remember it being so bad. And then I've seen it improve so much over time. And then you started having edits where you could just have a quick chat with it and it would change some stuff for you. And you'd be like, yeah, that worked. Nice one. And now, like I said, I'm trying to use the agent mode to get a little bit more hands off, but still kind of guide it as best I can. And it's genuinely has made me quite excited for how we build. Like I say, I don't think the present vibe coding is the best idea, and I think that was beautifully demonstrated by the guy that sent out a tweet who, it was just like, I built a whole new app, 24 hours, this is on, this is how things work now. And then a day later was just like, I'm getting hacked from everywhere and my API keys are all over the place. And you're like, you still need to know what you're doing. You can't be fully hands off. But my goodness, the things you can achieve, especially in something that's like throwaway, that doesn't need to be the best quality code, is great. So I'm really enjoying that. Yeah,
I feel like that's the lane for a developer evangelist dev role, is like throwaway code. It just needs to illustrate. It doesn't need to be great. Right. Yeah. You
also have to think, like as developer relations, there's a bit of that somewhere in there. We're trying to teach something out of it, right? Mm-hmm. Some of that application is supposed to illuminate something, and that's the bit you have to build yourself. Yeah. Otherwise, you don't understand it. You can't just be like, just prompt it this way. That's not going to do the job yet. I do want to be optimistic for the future that maybe this is something that maybe code will eventually go away. Like that's a potential future. And we have to just be excited about the outcomes, the things we built, not just the code. Because there is a little bit, maybe, of us being too precious about our code. And I understand that in terms of like how we have to work with it right now, like maintainability and how to support the applications we built. But ultimately, the code is not the output. The product is the output. And so anytime we consider this potential future of a vibe coding or whatever, we have to approach that not from the perspective that I love writing code because and I love the output of the code that I built, but the outcome, the actual product that you build, and that's something I think we have to be careful of as developers, because we have been taught for such a long time to care so deeply about our code.
I think that's beautiful. I think that's wise. I think that's also a great place for us to wrap it up today. Phil, thank you so much for being here. And if anyone wants to see all three of us in person, we're going to be in the same place next week.
Just next week.
I'm going to get to shake your hand, Phil.
This is great. And Phil, Phil, I understand the hype. I'm not saying I didn't. I really get the Phil enthusiasm. Because
she was rolling her eyes for the last 2 weeks. No, I'm kidding. She was very excited.
No, it was so funny because people would be like, Phil, do you know like, oh, Phil Nash? And I was like, okay. And then I was like, I get it. I see the passion that you have for building, and just I get it. Well, so you'll see all three of us next week. At the mean streets of San Francisco. You know,
if you can't make it to San Francisco, unfortunately, you're going to be deprived of Bianca and I for 2 weeks. We're gonna be in at Signal next week, and then we're gonna take a week off the week after that. But then whatever 3 weeks from now is, so that sounds like the 27th maybe. We'll be back. And we're going to be doing a whole Signal. We're going to talk about all the stuff that went out at Signal and all the releases. And I'm making some videos about them, and we're going to talk through those. So that'll be super exciting, our mega changelog. But Phil, thank you. Bianca, as always, it's a pleasure to be here with you. And we'll see everybody in 3. Hopefully, we'll see you live next week. Otherwise, we'll see you in 3 weeks. Bye.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, everyone.